person, brand. How many customers did we talk to? Approximately 50. Was it easy? Not always. It's quite hard sometimes. Some people chased us away, others didn't want to know, others didn't feel like what we were presenting to them or the questions we were asking them were relevant to their work or relevant to their lives. Yeah.
How do you feel now?
How do I feel now?
About what?
About what?
About the
Lean?
course, about the...
How do I feel about business in general and entrepreneurship? It is hard. Startups are really, really hard, but it takes dedication, it takes focus, and those are some of the things that Lean teaches you. To throw out the negative, continue with the positive criticism, learn from what people are telling you. If you feel you're going off track, or if you feel someone is derailing you, this is a course that helps you to keep moving. Even when you're disappointed and you feel like no, you should just let it go, you should just go down. So
I mean, for me it was interesting, because then you're trying to grasp certain concepts, trying to do things differently, because of course we had been trying to do the course thing for a year, maybe 2 years, and then you're being told how to do things differently from the way you had been doing them, so you have to unthink what you've been doing, and then trying to understand this whole new thing. Because I don't know, it was the methodology of doing it was part of what was difficult, and then just trying to unthink what you know and then try to learn something new. So quite
it's
a
a
challenge.
real challenge.
Yeah.
Pushes you and keeps pushing you and keeps pushing out of your comfort zone.
I think that's the same experience for me. It's my biggest experience. The best has been to be challenged, to think different from the way that I was previously thinking. I wish we had more time. I wish I was able to have a week to do the Audacity videos, and then 2 weeks to really get out of the building. It didn't obviously help that we having full-time jobs. It gets in the way a bit, but the experience of getting out of the building with a new concept, you're not getting out of the building with what you think you know, but you're going to ask customers whether they need it, whether they would pay for it, whether it would fix their problem. That was a completely new experience for me, and I think it was very, very good. Some of my most important lessons would have to be in the area of value propositions. Being able to think over and over until you have a value proposition, and taking that to the street to find out if it's really valuable.
Because the three of us come from the background of ICT, and we're always trying to provide solutions. So you come out thinking, oh, I have this really big thing, it is new, it is good, it's going to be super, it's going to work for you. And then you take it to someone and they are thinking, what is this? I don't need your solution, I already have something that is working for me. And then you're trying to tell them, but this can help you do your things better, it is a cheaper option. And they're looking at you and thinking, so what if it is cheaper? I already have something that is working for me. You show me what yours does. But you find others, you show them, but they're not interested completely and utterly, and they throw you out. I mean, Brian, you can tell us about your experience with the policymaker.
Yeah, that was a very, very interesting one. This gentleman is in the South Sudanese government, and he is a long-standing member of FOSFA. And yet, he found the questions that I asked very basic for him. These questions were really meant to check what it means to build a community around fair and open source software, something that we want to do here in Uganda. And I found it a bit disturbing that he thought the questions were basic, because I thought that they were really fundamental to building a community. And if you don't have a community, really, our COSS project has no standing if we don't have a community. Everything we want to do around fair and open source software in Uganda now depends on a community, depends on building a community. And sometimes when you have high level people who are not coming down to that level that's fundamental enough to ask what appear to be very basic yet very, very important questions, then perhaps it explains why, although open source software is highly valuable and it's used at some of the best services at service level, it's still not as popular because perhaps the people using it, for lack of a better word, aloof.
Maybe, and also the lack of information. I mean, when we started out the COSS project, we were thinking training, 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 training. But you're training people who don't exactly know what they are going to do after the training. Yet, yes, probably they are from ICT and then they want these Linux certifications. But then many people now, like here in Uganda, many people will get the certification just to add on to their CV, just so that they can get a job. And whether they are going to use a Windows environment or a Linux environment is irrelevant. You see, and I think for us that is how we started. We're like training, training, training. Let's give people training. But I don't know, Milton.
But
What do you think? At the end of this lane, do you think we should still be doing training, 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 or is it now time for us to give people information? Why should they be trained? Why should they be looking at using free and open source software instead of the things that are out there already?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me it is interesting because that brings me to the whole idea of the justification for doing the whole thing. Because we were doing training, and then we got into the lean program, and then we started thinking about all these other things that we could also do. And by the time we came out, or as we're coming out of the lean course, we're back to the training that we started with. So I don't know if that means then that really the training is where we should be focused on. And so maybe if we were to go through the lean program again, we'll just be focusing on how do we then really make a proper social business focused on training.
I think there's two things that come up. One is we started training because it was the one resource, the one skill set for which we had resources on us. We didn't need anything new. We didn't need a new building. We didn't need $1 million to do a training. So we did that because it's right in our hands. Lean for me is opening up the reality of the other business models. But in an interesting way, it's asking me if I have enough information, not from myself or from the resources I have, but from the people. Whether I have enough information from the people that those other business models are equally valid. So support, open source support remains a big challenge. In a country like Uganda, it's something that has potential to make money. There's no single company in Uganda that we know that exclusively offers open source support. But do we have enough information from the community of open source users that they would pay for such a service? And I think that's for me, Lean has helped me to open up that understanding.
Any other interesting things that you picked up? Next steps going forward, what are you thinking?
I think COSS should continue. I think there's one. I'm excited about the potential for open source support. I'm also excited about the potential for the information resource. Because I think if we start to do and work on being an information resource, then although training is something we know how to do well, it will set a very good foundation for anything else that we want to do. I definitely think that Lean has helped us to validate the lack of proper structured information about free and open source software in a Uganda context.
That is good. And I think as even moving forward, we should not just trash Lean, especially with the business model. I think those are some of the things that will help us actually keep refining our model and keep refining our ideas and things that we want to do moving forward as COSS.
Yeah, I think for me also, going back to the issue that you had mentioned earlier regarding the time for the course, I think essentially the 1 week per module kind of thing is fine for people who are not working full time. But it's because we were doing so many other things that 1 week was not enough. And so if it's like a course that is being run for people who are currently employed, it definitely needs more time. But if it's a course for people who are doing nothing else but just getting their startups up and running, then probably the 1 week is just fine. Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.